Hey, welcome to back to the Tea with Queens podcast. It's Queen Janine.
And Jer, thanks so much for tuning in.
Yes, so this is our comeback episode after quite a long hiatus. I think we stopped in September, took a little breaky break, chill the rest of 2020. As you know, it was a heck of a year. And now we're back. We're better than ever. Just living life, picking back me and Bull, drinking. Oh, I forgot the Ariana Grande lyric that was like, I've been drinking my coffee and I've been eating healthy. I keep.
Actually, a funny thing, I switched from coffee to green tea.
Okay, so also, what's something new is that got a espresso maker from my cousin's ex, LL. But it
Shout
was
out
like
to
for
Nessie,
Christmas.
love you.
Yeah, we love you. But anyways, I'm probably gonna take that out because he kind of sucks. Anyway,
Oh yeah. Oh
uh,
yeah, I totally forgot.
yeah, let's take that out.
Okay,
But
yeah.
anyway,
Maybe just say an espresso machine found our family. Found a
no,
new home in our grandma's kitchen.
I doubt he's gonna listen. I'm just not gonna put that in there. But
Yeah.
anyway, I don't think you caught in the frame. Anyway, oh yeah. Oh my god, Gerald, that reminds me of like once, like when I was at work, I had the green screen and then Anthony was like shirtless and I specifically said, if you're going to walk behind me, please have clothes on. But so he knew that he didn't have the clothes on, and so he started crawling. And then my coworker was like, "Oh, what is that? Is that a cat? I just saw something white at the end of the screen." And I'm like, "Oh my god, that was literally my cousin." He was trying to like be sly. Anyway,
Oh my
um,
god.
so anyways, we have the espresso machine, and so Jerralyn has been drinking tea now, and I used to be a matcha drinker, but I mean I still am. I just bought some matcha. But I've been obsessed with making lattes because it's just like, how can you not? Like, first of all, I went to San Diego recently, and I brought back home Black Magic espresso beans from Better Buzz, as well as their vanilla powder. Like, I can literally make a hazelnut divinity at home. I can make a best drink ever. I can make a vanilla latte.
We
Like,
love it.
oh yeah, and also what's new is I got a tattoo. Just me posing with my girl.
I'm
Um,
screaming.
yeah,
Oh, did you
so
say that you needed to go over there? That's so
yeah,
crazy. I thought you needed to go over here.
I'm officially part of the Inked fam. I got a stick and poke tattoo. Wasn't that painful? Love it, loves it. I love the moon. Always had an attachment to the moon. There's three things I've always had an attachment to. That is New York, the moon, and Britney Spears. And speaking of the Queen Britney Spears, Geraldine, have you had a chance to watch Framing Britney Spears yet on Hulu?
I honestly not. A bitch has been very busy.
I feel it. Oh, you know what? Before we dive in with Britney, how rude. I didn't even like ask you for an update. So what's new with you here?
Honestly, I have just been working a lot and figuring out how to navigate a work life balance. And then also just like realizing a lot of things. And I feel like I'm constantly growing and I'm constantly learning not only more about the world around me, but also myself and how I react to things. And the things that have been evidently clear to me with the pandemic and everything that everyone's dealing with is that right now we have to be realistic. Like we have to be realistic about what we can do in a given day and not feel guilty or bad for not being quote unquote productive. And we also need to be realistic about the fact that we have to live an adjusted lifestyle now. We have coming up the anniversary of the corona, and I feel like it's been an interesting go for everyone. I think everyone has had their own experiences. COVID was a blessing in a way for me, but also like I literally had a mental breakdown. Not because of COVID, it was just kind of like
Everything.
it was just accumulation of a lot of things that I hadn't dealt with, and I didn't necessarily think that I needed to go back and deal with those things. And it just like caught up with me, dude. Like it's kind of like when you don't wash your laundry because you have so many clothes, and you're like at the end of the month, you're like, I have to do like 5 hours of laundry. Like this is insane. Like that's kind of like how it felt, and it felt like very overwhelming. And
Mhm.
it kind of just felt like it just to me like the best way I can describe it is that you like do all your laundry and you hang all your laundry up, but then you take your stuff out of the dryer and then it sits there for like however long you let it sit there before you get it done. Like that's kind of how I felt it was, and everything just kept like accumulating on top of each other.
No, that makes sense. And honestly, like that kind of stuff like really hits you when you already are predisposed so wait
Words are
predis
not your friend right now.
predisposed. I can English, guys. Anyway, predisposed to depression and feelings like that. Like it hits you in moments of stress. And I know, like you at first you thought, like, oh my god, like it must be work. That must be the problem. Let's get rid of that.
Hmm.
But then obviously, like without getting into too much detail, um, you I think through time, like you realize that it was just like a multitude of things, right? And
Yeah.
that was in December-ish, and I'm happy that you're so much better. And you're right, like you said, like all you can do is like get up every day and try to do things smarter and better, and learn
Yeah.
from your mistakes and learn from the past and just keep evolving. And I'm really proud of you for that.
Thank you. I love it. And also like it was hard. Like it wasn't just December.
Mhm.
Um it started in October and it actually started like before that and I was just like stretching myself way too thin and over promising myself to everyone like not setting up boundaries and it was a difficult pill to swallow not only to one ask for help.
Mhm.
I turned to people that I loved and I trusted, and I was just really vulnerable and had candid conversations with them. And in the end, I think that that truly saved everything, like
Mhm.
in terms of like saving my job, like saving like my life, like my reality as I know it. Like it helped me to just like identify that like I'm like straight up not having a good time right now, and it's really difficult for me to like even operate as a human being but also knowing that I need to show up and in the capacity that have to and in the
Standards.
roles that I need to because
Yeah.
obviously I need a job, like I need to go to work, like I care about my relationships, like that was just a difficult thing to realize and then throughout the entire time I was just like second guessing myself and I was just like, yo, am I like going crazy, dude? Like am I tripping? Like maybe I'm just overreacting. And I feel like that mentality of like me telling myself that all the time and just like pushing through and being strong, like the being strong made me frigid and the being frigid like kind of like froze me and I was like more susceptible to cracks, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, for sure. Like I feel like something that you said really struck me, but I think the gist of it is it's important to like put yourself first and to like listen to yourself, because at the end of the day, like yourself, like you hear those thoughts in your head, like you feel the feelings of how what it's like to get up in the morning, what it's like to not sleep, what it's like to stress. And I think one thing that I learned last year in particular was to not invalidate yourself, because first of all, people already do that. Whether it's my former bosses invalidating my experience as a woman of color, whether it's what I mean? So like people can be there and tell you your reality is not your reality, but at the end of the day you have to know that this is what's going on. I'm going to feel these feelings. I acknowledge this. Like you have to like talk about it to yourself, I think.
Yeah.
Um just because I don't know, I honestly feel that like that right now. Like I feel like I'm like mental health wise, like I've been good, but it's just like I think I'm a little scared because it's like since I left my job I don't have insurance until that probationary period. So I'm like, wow, like I'm not going to have the care that I need, like, and I already haven't been to counseling since like July when my last coverage ended. So
Yeah.
it's just been like a whole thing. But anyway.
I really liked what you said about acknowledging like the state that you're in. And I think it's also important to note that everything that you've been through like stays with you and like you literally carry it. Like when people are talking about
Right.
baggage, like it's like a really great analogy to think of that. Like you have baggage from being a child. Like you actually have baggage that's passed down to you intergenerationally, like from your ancestors. Everything that the people before you have gone through like lives within you. So like all of those obstacles and
That's
challenges
true.
that they had to overcome and the strength and the determination and the will and the tenacity and resilience that your ancestors have like I'm getting goosebumps right now, like shout out to the homies, but
Because we're
basically like
spiritual
I
people.
know, yes. So basically like all of that lives within you and you have like you not only have the capacity that you have as an individual but you have like your family line behind you too, like that blood runs through your veins And if you have people that weren't actually related to you, like that energy runs through you as well. And I think it's important to know. And I think also, like, we have gotten so used to carrying the heavy shit that we don't necessarily recognize that we're carrying. And on top of like the day to day, you're coming around with like this like heavy stuff that you can't put down. And then that's when everything else happens, and you don't even take into consideration your past. And I really liked what you said about acknowledging, because it's so important. And like, what have been some things that you have acknowledged that have helped you to move forward?
Well, I think before I answered that, I also wanted to talk a little bit about the generational trauma. I feel like that's like with like talking with Tiana and Talia and like just like talking with them. Like there's things like you said, like we grew up like with the childhood we had thinking that was like normal. Like I didn't know until like high school that like what was happening was not like what a normal household should be like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you just don't know like because you're in your own little bubble until you go over to your friend's house and you're like, oh wait, you guys don't have to do this. You know what I mean? Then you start seeing
Yeah,
that like it's kind of wrong. And like I think so the one thing that I kind of wanted to look at and like process like when I do go to like therapy and stuff is talking about generational trauma, because I also think about something that another person said about being in like a scarcity mindset. And like I feel that, and that's in like an everyday life for me, because like we grew up like thinking and like our reality was like being poor and like struggling and like,
feeling
you know,
unwanted, like
yeah, and
not
just like all
feeling
those feelings. So it's just
included.
kind of like that I don't know, it just it does carry into your adulthood until like unfortunately, like if you, in my opinion, like I'm not a doctor or anything, but like to me, like if you have baggage and you literally don't deal with it, at some point you will break. At some point it will get too heavy. You're gonna fall down because the baggage is too much on your back, and like it sucks. But that's why I think it's important to normalize mental health, which also I will talk about when we talk about Brittany.
Yes.
But anyway,
Just again, if you guys didn't hear me mention,
just,
we're going to
just
talk
in case
about
you guys
Brittany, like
forgot,
we're
like
talking about Brittany.
I know we're going on a rant, but like I have not forgotten that I'm talking about Brittany. That I may not remember much sometimes, but that is in my head. So your question was, what realizations have I acknowledged that kind of propelled me right now? I would say acknowledging that I don't know. Part of me like hates to talk about this because it's like so weird, like talking about it, because like obviously people are the Queendom's gonna listen to this, and like it's like kind of weird putting yourself out there. But anyway,
But
um,
honestly, you just have to remember that like it's a safe space, and like you're
yeah, you're
loved, and
right.
like
Like this
this is like
community,
a healing environment.
yeah. Okay, well, with that being said, like I've been noticing that like my depression has been coming in waves lately, and that never really used to happen. Well, the last time I would feel that way was college, and that was because I was just like literally depressed. So that was just like a wave of about 4 years. But like now, I've noticed that like I'll be good. Like for example, November I was like chilling, and then December was really hard for me. January I was like okay, and then obviously the pressure, not I would not even call it pressure, I would just call it bullshit from my last job. But anyway, just dealing with that. And then I feel like right now, like even though I'm in a new role, which by the way is an update, I got a new job. I'm out of San
Yes, you
Diego.
love it.
I'm a Los Angeles girl now. Not, I mean, not a resident, but like I'm an LA baby.
She wouldn't say she's an Angelino by any
No,
stretch of the imagination.
no, I'm an Oxnardian. Is that the term? But anyway, yeah, I've been like, I think something that I acknowledged today whilst I was in Malibu, drinking my coffee, you know, just chilling. I was just like, you know what? Wow, sorry. I remind myself of a meme that was like, oh, like when podcasts talk about nothing for 20 minutes. Sorry guys. I feel like I've just been like random. But anyway, I realized that it's okay, um for like for the feelings that I feel, like the sad, like the depression kind of feelings, it's okay for them to be there, and I have to acknowledge it, because usually what I try to do is I try to distract myself by cleaning or by like reorganizing my closet, or like something random, like just doing random shit like to fill the time. It doesn't matter what it is as long as I'm doing something. But it's like no, I need to feel these feelings and like talk, like think about, you know, like just sit there and be like, you know what, like I am not having feeling good right now, but today is a new day. You know, I'm going to feel how I feel for the next 5 minutes, and then I'm going to get up, and then I'm going to take a shower, and just like be patient with yourself, because you literally have to like with the analogy, you literally have to carry yourself. And it's been hard, but um yeah, so I'm being more patient with my mental health instead of getting mad. Because what I used to do was get mad at myself and be like, God damn it, like why am I depressed again? Like I was fine. Like what happened?
Are you
It's
like,
just
we're
it's
booked
just
and busy,
reality.
booked and busy?
No, it's just like I don't have literally I don't have time to be sad, but like it's just like it's like literally like a little cloud, you know, it's just there. But you can like there's things you can do to avoid the rain. You can get an umbrella, you can like put a beanie on, you can get like a parka, whatever, you know what I mean? Just have
Mhm.
to like pivot.
Yeah, and I feel like it's really important to note that you can still have the feelings of depression without having gone to the doctor and been clinically diagnosed. But I think like we
Yeah.
can all attest to the fact where we're just like feel icky and like not the same. And like some for me, the biggest and scariest thing was looking in the mirror and like literally looking at a shell of someone that was just like not me. Like that was not me. And it was like physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I think it's also important to note that you can be going through a lot of things and still be high functioning. Like you
Yeah.
went to school, like you worked like 3 jobs, interned, went to school, graduated with a degree, all the while like you were dealing with a lot of things that I'm not going to share because it's like not my bullhorn, it's yours. So you can share if you want to, but like you just went through so much, and despite everything, like despite all the challenges and obstacles in your path, both foreign and domestic, you were able to like ride out and be on top. And like it's okay to not have it together all of the time.
Yeah, that's I think I could have just said that without talking for 20 minutes. But
No, I think
that was a good concise way to put it.
no, I think that what you have to say matters, and I think that the way that you feel makes sense, and you like it's not that you need my validation, but I totally validate you. Like everything that you were talking about and like speaking on was the truth, and it doesn't matter like how long it was for you to get it out.
Yeah, that's a new thing lately that I've been like apologizing for talking too much. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe that's some insecurity I have. But I feels like sometimes it feels like my mind is like a pair of headphones, and I'm like while I'm talking, I'm nodding it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Anyways, I hope does this mean I'm having no, I was gonna say like oh like imagine like someone listening to this is like these are the signs of mental breakdown.
I'm dead. Honestly, I think it's just um you just need to simmer down, dude. Like I feel like the cadence that we've been going on, not only like personally, but just like societally, we go at a really fast, high moving cadence.
True.
So you just need to slow down, like simmer down, like take the time to slow down so you can speed up.
True. Yeah,
Shout
today
out
so
to
today
Haley Bosser. She told me that in my superstar check in this week.
loves it. Shout out. Um I forgot what I was saying. But sorry. What were you talking about?
We were talking about mental health and like taking the time to simmer down and taking the time to slow
Oh,
down so you can speed up.
okay. Yeah, I was going to share that I kind of was practicing that today because today is Tuesday, but it's my Saturday because I have like my new job is dope and but at the same time it's like a special schedule. So it's Thursday to Monday. So I'm like, woohoo, it's Saturday. And so I woke up today again like not feeling very like happy, you know, just feeling like the, you know, like a fog over me, just like when. And then I was like, talking to grandma, and then she was like, "Oh, the insurance guys are coming over." And I'm like, "Do I really want to like sit there and like listen to this?" I probably should have, honestly. But um and then so I was like, "You know what? I'm going to get up. I'm going to get dressed and get showered and like look cute." I mean, I wasn't this is what wasn't what I wore today. I had like this like mint green like baby doll shirt with glitter infused in the thread, and then it had a black hat. And then, oh, you know what? I'll talk about what happened today, but also going back to what I said. So, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go get coffee, but then I was just like, I don't want Starbucks, you know. No shade to Starbies, she comes in clutch, but I don't know. I just wanted to get out, and then you're like, oh, PCH, and I was like, that's true. I do enjoy the PCH, and it's not. I can drive it now. Like I don't get scared anymore.
That's good.
So then I was just chilling, listening like a Cardi B playlist. It's called you know this her song Up, her latest single. So it's
Yeah.
just like the Up radio, literally perfect. So I was just bumping that, and then I made it a good day. You know, I started off with like some caffeine, and then came back, and then took my grandma to her appointment. So chilling, and then
Yeah.
tomorrow, yeah. So it was just like it was cool, but I shared this on my story, but it was kind of cool because it's weird because sometimes like when I feel this way normally like what I used to do would like seclude myself, but when I feel this way I
Mhm.
get like really chatty and it's like I overshare. It's like weird. But anyway, so I was talking to the barista that I went to Blue Bottle in Malibu, and then we were just talking, and he was like a little I don't know. I could just tell he was like shy. Like so, I was kind of like to me like when a shy person talks to you, that means they're comfortable. So I'm just kind of like letting him talk. And so
Yeah.
he was telling me that he paints figurines, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool!" And then I was telling him because he told me that he had some sort of overhead camera, like Laura Gregg. She has this little like tripod that can you can see her, right? So I thought
Hmm.
that's what he was talking about, but it turns out it's for a figurine class or something, like figures. And so he
That's
paints
dope.
them for fun. So I told him like, oh my god, you should totally put that on TikTok because that's like such a niche that could really take off, and you could start monetizing and like your passion. I just like randomly started like mentoring him.
Are you a
And then he was
master
like,
marketer?
no, I don't know. I literally I just think about that, and then I just like want to help people, and sometimes I feel like I come off too pushy. So I was like, oh, sorry, I'm just like in social media, so it's my professional opinion, but like I'm not trying to tell you what to do. And he's like, no, I appreciate it. And he's like, you know what? Some people usually don't really talk to us here because it's Malibu. They're just like getting my coffee, bitch.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna comp your drink. And then I was like, "Ooh, I wasn't done ordering. I wanted a bagel, but I feel like I'll have to pay for the bagel, and it's gonna be awkward. So I'll just take the coffee." But it was so nice. So like just like putting yourself out there, and then I ended up having a good day. I got a free coffee out of it. Like
Yeah.
I had a human interaction safely with our masks and like a glass door between, but still, it was
Yeah,
a good
I feel
day.
like definitely with COVID, you have to find those little pockets of happiness. And I think what's important to remember
True.
is you don't have to be happy all day as long as you find like a few moments like where you're happy or a few moments to laugh. And honestly, I just
That's so
remember
true.
like sneaking and watching Sex in the City when we were younger. And Charlotte, I forget who it was. It was probably like Samantha, and she was like talking to Charlotte. And because Samantha, she was like a strong, powerful woman, and she was very comfortable with her sexuality and was just like really out there and in the streets having a really great time. And
Mm.
they asked Charlotte, they're like, oh, she's like, oh, do you like being married? Like, are you happy? And Charlotte was like, well, like, I'm not happy like every single day, all day, but I am happy every day. Like, I'm happy with him
Oh,
every
like there's
day.
some moment every day I'm
Yeah,
happy.
there's a moment every day where I'm happy. And
That's
I
a good way
think
to
that's
put
like
it.
a really great way to like look at life. And also, I don't know if anyone on E is listening to this, but I would really love a Sex in the City reboot that is diverse and inclusive. So I'd love to see like black and brown women and like people, maybe even like an LGBTQ person from
Like
like
the trans
multiple
leads.
spectrums so that
Mhm.
everyone's inclusive. Because I feel like Sex in the City is like a quintessential I feel like it's a quintessential show for women who are kind of like coming into their own. Like when I think of Sex in the City, I not only think of the people who are aged like 30, 40 who I like grew up watching it. I also think of like us. Like it's our time that we're kind of having our own Sex in the
Like
City.
you
Like
see that
everyone has their
you see
own.
yourself in that.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
But I
Mark,
don't really
yeah.
resonate fully with it because
Mm,
not gonna lie, it's like a gaggle of white girls, which is totally fine. Like definitely like super great show. But and it was also like in the
it's like
80s.
Friends.
So yeah,
Friends.
like Friends, for example. I think that if Issa Rae, like if they put Issa Rae in charge of not necessarily calling it Sex in the City, but if they put her in charge of like finding talent and like doing everything, like that would be amazing.
True. I literally like all the '90s early sitcoms, early 2000 sitcoms, like How I Met Your Mother, Friends. I can't think of any other like Buffy, like just like they were
Mhm.
all like that's just like what the reality was back then, and that kind of kind of like what I wanted to talk about for Brittany. So
That's
we
so
talked
crazy that
about
you guys mentioned Britney. Thanks so much for
did someone
asking.
say Britney Spears? Okay. Um, but anyway, so back when Britney was in her fame, so it starts the framing of Britney Spears is a documentary on Hulu, a docu series from New York Times, and so I watched it last night. So I'm not gonna like talk about it all. I'm just gonna talk about important parts.
Oh, it's a docuseries from the New York Times. It's gonna be lit.
Well, it's not a series. It's like it's a docu series by New York Times, and one episode is Britney Spears.
It's still gonna be good. New York Times does really great work. I think they
Yeah.
did like there was something about love. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if it was on Hulu or Netflix, but basically it was bringing stories from a love column from the New York Times to life, and it was super interesting. But anyways, back to
That's
Brittany.
cool. Oh yeah, Britney. So she growing up in the '90s, she's American. the American girl next door. Like she's just like kind of like what you said about Friends and Sex and the City. Like we don't necessarily relate to them on like a personal physical level. It's more of like I relate to what they want because we want the same things, and like I want to be like that. I want to be like Britney Spears and be accepted and like be happy and like be this, just like everyone likes you. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that fantasy almost.
Yeah,
That
it's
was
like your
what
own
she
shot at the
represented.
American dream.
Yeah, through like vicariously through the music. Um, but yeah, so that was the early '90s. But then the early 2000s, which is the same period as like the shows we were talking about in the '90s. But she gets a lot of flack because this is when she starts going through coming of age, and she goes, she's sorry, am I spoiling it for you, or are you
No,
still
it's
gonna watch
fine.
it?
No,
Okay,
I'm still gonna watch it regardless.
or I got it less. Okay.
Regardless.
Yeah, sorry. But anyway, so it's early 2000s, like she's dating Justin Timberlake, and then he's saying going when they break up, he's like insinuates with that song Cry Me a River that Britney cheated, and then he's telling kind of the equivalent of the shade room today, like back then, that like he got in her pants, and like she gets interviewed at like 6 years old, and he's asked her, do you have a, and the host asked her, do you have a boyfriend? And like she's 6, like,
Yeah.
so just she's been like, that's been her reality, is like, and I think that now the documentary does have new perspective. I'll say it's not really like super new information. It's kind of like we all kind of know this if you are part of the Free Britney movement and you have been following for the past couple years. But it's still like an interesting perspective. Um, but yeah, it was just like wow. Like not only it kind of reminds me honestly, like if I was still in school, I would have talked about this in my JMS classes. I would have talked about this in like my women's representation in the media class. Like totally would have. It's just like bullshit, like frankly. And I saw a tweet that was like, as a black woman in the middle of Black History Month, I feel sorry for Britney Spears. Like I cry for Britney Spears. Like this is not right. Like, and it's true because I at first like I was just kind of like the viral reaction of like when it came out 2 days ago. I was like, obviously I need to watch it because it's Britney. But after watching it, like I think this is gonna really stir something up, and I just like hope that whatever comes out of this, like there's legislation passed so that this never happens again, because the conservatorship process doesn't really protect the conservatee as much as people think. It's usually in the best interest of the conservator. And it's just crazy, man. And also like a lawyer said that she didn't know one conservatee that ever got out of a conservatorship.
Wow. And also, I just looked it up because I don't know what that means.
Oh,
And funny thing, like I typed in conservatorship, and literally,
Britney
whose
Spears.
picture pops up like 3 pictures of Britney. And actually, I don't trust Wikipedia. Let me find a more
Yeah.
reliable source.
Like the true journalist I am.
Yeah, but honestly, what I will say is that when I was in school, I would go to Wikipedia and I would like look up whatever it was, but I wouldn't look at what was written. I would look at the sources. And then I would go to those sources if they were credible and then use that to support my essay. Just a little hack for those of you that are still in school, and it's not cheating because we're being resourceful.
Resourceful. Oh, people are being so supportive on the Instagram posts. I posted a pic of moi. Um, oh, you can't see my phone. Whatever.
True.
I posted a pic of myself with the mic because it was like the pink and green vibes.
Yeah.
And then I said, Queen Janine is back and ready to spill the tea. And then yas, omg per. Oh yeah, that's another thing I tweeted that I was like, honestly, I get like the Gen Z lingo update from my cousin Kaya, because like first of all, I knew Y2K was back, but like there's like a whole part of the internet that's like Y2K and it's so cute and he's a part of it. And then he showed me some new artists, and then he showed me now he started saying prrr, and I'm like, oh my god, I love it. It's like Pussycat Dolls.
So,
Just trying to make it up.
conservator, according to Merriam-Webster, is one that preserves from injury or violation, one that is responsible for the care, restoration, and repair of archival or museum articles, not relevant.
No,
A
just
person,
the art.
official, or institution designated to take over and protect the interests of an incompetent.
Yeah. So usually it's for people that are kind of senile, like those people that always call grandma trying to sell her house. Like if you would be susceptible to that, and you would like give away all your money to someone else like that, then yeah, like that's I mean not yeah, but that's what the conservatorship process like was meant to protect. Like Britney is not someone of that
Caliber.
level, caliber. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, and then also it goes into like the theories about her talking to us through her Instagram, and I was just like, oh my god, I've been seeing this. It was just kind of nice to like, not nice, but it was just kind of like crazy that on like a literal world, like she's got the world's listening and the world is watching. So that's just what I wanted to say. That like I feel like everybody should watch this. Um, it's like she's like Dolly Parton, like unproblematic, like been a sweetheart her whole life, and like this
Mhm.
is like horrible.
And what I
Horrible.
will say is that when Dolly Parton, I don't know if you've watched the Squarespace commercial where it's 5
5
to
to 9,
9. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dolly Parton. We are because our grandma like loves her. Um,
obviously.
Dolly Parton had a song called 9 to 5 that was the
Just a more
soundtrack
ladies.
for a movie in the 80s that I can't recall the name of at the
It's called
moment.
9 to 5.
Honestly, I will say this once and I'll say it again. I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, but I'm dependable. Like you can count on me. Like I'm not gonna break. With that being said, the 5 to 9 commercial was like so cute, and I heard Dolly's voice, and it was just like really well put together. And I feel like Dolly Parton is an unproblematic white woman, like Betty
Yeah.
White.
Betty White.
And
And she's like
yeah,
the
so like
Holy Trinity. Well,
the
Cher,
what?
if you could. I said the Holy
Yeah.
Trinity
Well,
is like,
definitely. Well, Cher is a woman of color, actually, isn't she?
I think she's Native American, right?
She definitely has like white passing features. That's what I will say.
Honestly, I part of me wants to delete that part because as a fan of Cher, I should know that, but I really don't know her. Part of me feels like it's Native American or like I don't know. So can you
Let's
look
look
it
it
up?
up.
Oh my
Share
god, Cher, Cher,
ethnicity.
sweetie, I'm so sorry.
Again, oh,
Can you
she's
hear? Yeah,
Armenian American.
Armenian.
Cher,
Oh
the
my
60.
god,
This was published in 2015. Cher, the 68-year-old singer and actor, was born Sherilyn Sarkisian. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The child of an American mother and an Armenian American father. The multi award winner has revealed that for much of her life, she did not feel strongly connected to her Armenian heritage.
for some reason I thought she was Native American. So
I
maybe because
think
I
she
saw her wear like
is.
a headdress once, but appropriation. Um,
I don't know. Let
so
me
I want, but you know what? She's Armenian, but I never see her with the Kardashians. You think they'd be tight? She probably doesn't.
no.
You think she likes them? No, huh?
No, I feel like no shade to
I
the
feel like she,
Kardashians, but
yeah.
I feel
I
like
have
you
talent.
can't bullshit a bullshitter, and I feel like Cher wouldn't put up with that. No shade. And obviously we don't know. We're just like third party
No, this is
bystanders.
speculation. Yeah. Like,
But
well, I used
honestly,
my dream job when I was younger was to be a host on E News, like to just like talk about celebrities. Like it's just like so
yeah.
fun, like to just speculate and like. But at the same time, like there comes a point where it's like you cross the line, and it's like
Yeah,
too much. Like poor Britney, poor Britney.
definitely. And honestly, I feel like what stuck out to me in that like little blurb of that 2015 article published in The Guardian was that she did not feel strongly connected to her Armenian heritage, and I relate to that in terms of not feeling connected to our Chamorro heritage. And I, like, my whole life, I just felt like I had to justify my space in the world because we came from a mixed background and we were white passing. So it's like not only living with the acknowledgement that you do have white privilege and like you have a role to play, but also
Like
just
hurting.
not feeling enough on either side. And I feel like that has like followed me like throughout my entire life. And I feel like, and even like my tattoo, like I didn't get this tattoo to like prove to anyone like how Chamorro I was. Like I got it for my family and like my grandma and like the strong women who have sacrificed and just like done the damn thing to make sure that I am here and like my family is here. So like that's where this tattoo came from. But to just like to just feel like not accepted until they actually hear from you that like you're Chamorro or like you're part Filipino or you're part Chinese. Like they don't accept you until they hear that. And I feel like that's why I always felt like I had to justify myself. And it's just like
Yeah,
it's something that I'm learning and I'm growing, and I feel that part of it comes from our family being forced to assimilate to American culture, and in doing so we like lost parts of who we are. but I still feel like a strong connection to our ancestors, and I feel a strong connection to Guam. And I feel like if we have the opportunity to go back, I feel like we would still feel a strong connection to our land. And I was telling Janine earlier this year that it didn't even register to me that like we are indigenous to America. Like Guam and the Chamorro people were literally scammed. Like we were scammed and they took our land from us. And while I appreciate the Navy, I'm also like a big like I am a firm believer that the United States government and the armed forces is like the biggest gang in the world because like of everything they've done. And it's not even just them, it's like all of like the colonial powers too. Like it's just baffling to me that one person or one group of people believe that like they own something that's not theirs. Like you didn't discover anything. And I feel like that's been an interesting journey, and I feel like everyone kind of goes through that as they grow up.
Hmm. I remember talking with Sabrina about that too. Like I'll just say it, like, because it was a kind of like a hard conversation to bring up, but like being Sabrina being biracial and being, Italian, European white, and black, and then me being, I just say brown and white, but like me being like white, and then like all of these things. So it's just kind of like with everything going on, like part of me feels bad. Like I remember you told me someone made a comment that was like, oh, why are you like selling the stickers? And that made me not feel accepted, because it was just like, oh, like why are you doing it? You're part, like you're white, or like you're not black, or like you're not brown enough. Like that's how it makes me feel. And it's like when people say things like that, and like I totally echo what you say. Like it's like it's real. But like me and Sabrina were talking about that. We were like, oh, like we feel like guilt for being white and speaking up about this, because like it's like we're part of the problem almost. I don't know. Like that's
But
that's just how like we felt. I had a
at
discussion
the
about it.
same time, like that whole thing of like not feeling like you have to be the person to speak up about it is part of the reason why racism is still alive and well in America today. And one of my clients at work, they hosted the Human Rights Watch Film Festival in San Diego. It was available to households across the nation last week, actually this week. Just kidding. It was this week time. Oh, this week and last week. But basically they had a film called Missing in Brooks County. And originally when I had first read the synopsis of the film, I was like, okay, like it's a filmmaker. He goes into a community center in Boston and he is looking to film these really transformational stories of Black and Brown people. But in the process of doing that, he's faced with his own complicity in racism and the racist structures in the United States. But after watching the film, I was like, you know what? I don't think it's just white people that need to address their complicity. I think it's every race needs to address their complicity, and everyone needs to have the understanding that while you may not have been the person who enslaved another person, or your family like didn't own slaves, or you feel like you don't have a stake in the matter or responsibility to do so, the fact of the matter is there are government sanctioned policies and practices, as well as societal norms that actively oppress and intentionally bar people of color, specifically Black people and other communities of color throughout the US, from the pursuit of the American dream and what it means to be American. So, like, people aren't given the same opportunities or the same access to tools and resources, or even the same education as everyone else. And I feel like I don't want to speak on behalf of white people, but I feel like white people have a hard time swallowing that pill because they're not thinking about the collective whole. And we're also in America, which is an individualistic culture. We're not a collectivistic culture. So I feel like that plays a role in it too. And it's part of growing up. Like you have to, I'm a firm believer that sometimes education, especially K through 12, can be an indoctrination, not an actual education. You're not being given the true facts. The history is written by the victors. And it just so happens that the victors actually write the textbook. And normally the people who write those textbooks are not diverse or representative of the communities that they serve. So
Hmm.
we're learning a history that is whitewashed.
Hmm.
And then you go to college, and then there's actually an open dialogue, and you guys actually have like free space to think about what you believe in, not what your parents believe in or what your teacher believed in. And I feel like even if you didn't go to college, like the real world, like it's theory versus practice. And I feel like that's what our K through 12 education is. It's theory versus practice. And I feel like sometimes that also can be what college is until you get out into the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important as people of color first to hold your space. Like the only person that can tell you who you are is yourself. Like the only person that can say an I am statement is you. So like I, Jerralyn Davis, I'm the only person that can say I am strong, I am powerful, I am beautiful, I am meant to be here, I make a difference. Like no one else can say
Tomorrow.
that. Yeah, I am tomorrow, but I'm also white. So only you can say that. And like it's difficult coming up. And then also in the environment that we're in, I feel like it's really important to stand up for what you believe in. I don't think that anyone should let history pass us by at the moment. Like we've had so many historical events in terms of like millennials and Gen Z. I'm just like, what other historical event are we going to have in February? Like what we saw at the Capitol, that was a historical event that we will pass down and will always like remember. Like I'll always remember where I was in my house because like COVID,
Me
but
too.
I'll always remember like how I felt and like the fear I felt for other people and just like the pain and like the sorrow and just like I just like felt everything and I also feel like I'm an empath too. So I'm very empathetic. So I feel all the vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we have a responsibility as human beings to stand up for what is right. And I feel like we have to address that.
Honestly, now that you say that, like that makes me think of a couple weeks ago, like when I spoke up and stand up, like for what I believed in and what I thought was right. And I'm not in that situation anymore, but like that was like a really empowering moment for me because it was just like batshit crazy, like what was going on. I was just like, what are you doing? Like this is serious. Like this, I don't know, like you said, like it was heavy, and then like I said earlier, like and then being told that like you're over, it's a bit of an overreaction, and that like you're jumping to conclusions and um being negative. I don't think they said overreaction actually. That's what I took it as, but they said negative and jumping to conclusions. And I'm like, I'm not jumping to conclusions. It's literally on national television, like for the whole world to see.
Well, I feel like the people don't have context.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm not employed by them anymore, but basically one of my not coworkers, colleagues at my
A
last job,
previous, yeah.
well, sorry, whatever, my previous employer. Um and they literally, I set up this person's Facebook page, like I talked to them, like it was just it hit close. Anyway, they were at the Capitol. And when I say at the Capitol, like the Capitol was in the background, like really close, like so it was like clear that they were like on the steps or something, or like past the barricades. And then it went kind of viral in San Antonio, and the person was baring teeth, like evil looking, scary, and was like, the Capitol is ours. And so that went viral because there was just people, social media, like people started messaging the company page, like, oh, is this you? Like, this your employer? Like, do you support this? Like, rightfully so. And so I just get a text from my manager that says, don't answer anything about the blank about that person. Like I'm handling it right now. And I'm like, okay, context. like, and so I had to Instagram, I see nothing. I had to Twitter, I see nothing. LinkedIn, and then the last one I check is Facebook. And then that's when I see it. I'm like, oh shit. Like, and so I text back my manager. I'm like, oh, I know what you're talking about now. And he's like, yeah, don't respond. I'm like, bitch, I know. Like, I literally said I wasn't going to. Like, I understand what that means. I understand what no means. Like, I'm not dumb. And then they, first of all, a reflection of a lot, just being left out of the loop. And so I was just kind of like, this is important. Like, I am on the team. Like, my role is senior corporate social media coordinator. So, like, as senior corporate social media coordinator who manages the corporate social media, which is getting message, like, I should know about this. And I have ideas. Like, I know what to do. Like, we went to school for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so then I hear nothing. I'm ignored. And then I get emails like, "Oh, can you disable their account? we'll be back in a couple of weeks to reinstate it. So what that tells me is that one, not only are they allowing this, they are protecting it. Two, to me that bears the question, because as a woman of color, that makes me feel unsupported if they are going to support and protect a person. Not necessarily that it's not about political, it's like about what they support, like what that meant, like what the reality was, what we saw, like that was. And they everyone likes to hide behind and just like a political correct term and just say democracy was hit, but it's like there it's like a lot more than that, like
It's like,
you know what
nah,
I'm
bro,
saying.
they staged a coup.
Like yeah, like it's like don't minimize this and like
Like
ugh,
they broke the
anyway.
law.
Yeah,
And
like that literally, and that's what I was trying to say. I was like, this person literally committed a federal crime, and then they're like, oh well, we don't know if he did anything illegal. And I'm like, what do you mean? WDYM? Like, um, I literally see the Capitol in the back of his picture. Like, that's something that you take when you're like at the floor of the Eiffel Tower and you're like with the Eiffel Tower. Like, it's like that close.
yeah.
And so then I was just like, okay. So, like, now I'm talking to a person that probably wishes they were there. Because that just made me feel like defensive. And I was like, okay, but you know what? I'm still going to say what I have to say because, and I explained it in the best way I could, but like, I was like, you know what? Like, the way I feel aside, like, this is my professional opinion that like the way this is being handled is detrimental not only to the organization, but like just to the world. Like, that's just like not what you do when something happens like this.
And it was
And so I was
textbook case study that, like, that was the
Mhm.
wrong thing to do.
Literally, and then, like, the CEO is, like, you know, a little bit older, and he kind of he was just like, honestly, he's like, "Honestly, like, why? Like, can you tell me why this is wrong?" And so then I just went into, like, education mode, and I'm like, "Well, the reason why that's wrong is because when you are deleting comments and hiding comments and ignoring emails and ignoring messages, you're censoring people, and you're shutting them down, and what that tells them is that you don't care, and you don't hear them at all, like, and you don't care to, and that infuriates people, and that can start a whole what's the word, avalanche, whatever, like a big reaction set of events. And for me, like, being the professional that I am, like, I was thinking like what could this can turn into, and so like nip it in the bud, like time is of the essence. And I was told like, oh yeah, okay, you have good ideas, like, or you have ideas that we haven't heard. Let's have you in the meeting tomorrow. Next day comes, 30 minutes in the day, don't get an email. So I have to ask, like, hey, can you include me in the email? And then they're like, oh, just just talk to your manager and the CMO. And then I'm like, okay, these are the people that I specifically didn't go to about this because I wanted to talk to you about it because they are doing what I'm talking to you about. You know what I mean? So like, why are they going to listen? And then, and also just like my just history of like being in a like professional relationship or whatever with them. Like, it was just kind of like I came to you because you're the person that matters. Like, I'm talking to you about this. So I prepare, you know, with a lot of feedback and just like overall support. But anyway, um I show up with a meeting with a document, and I kind of present it. It's not a presentation, but I'm like going through the motions, and
Yeah.
every single point was met with a rebuttal, was met with like like almost like it to me it felt like refusal. Like it like they were just like listening to like clap back. Like they weren't hearing what I was saying, and they were just assuming that like I felt this way personally. And I'm like, no, this isn't how I feel personally. This is like how I feel professionally. And like I was just seen as like this like I just wasn't taken seriously, and like again like how I really was the whole time. But it was just I don't know, it sucked. And then to go through all that and to make it without crying was an absolute miracle. So I was like, "Thank you, Jesus," because I was just like, because for me, like I cry when people interrupt me, and like when people one and when I get mad, and so like they were interrupting me and I was getting mad. So like it was just like waterworks were like fuming, you know. You just like
Yeah,
feel
because you're getting shut down and, like, you're
yeah,
basically being told that your opinion didn't matter and what you had to say was not important.
yep. And then at the end, I close out end scene with what I thought was a good idea, but maybe it wasn't the best idea because I was speaking to two white guys from Texas. I was told after I shared my experience as a woman of color, because if I for me the analogy was, if I feel this way and I am just one sole person on this earth, what do you think our employees of color think when they see this? What do you think the partners feel when they see our partners of color, our clients of color, our black clients, our black employees? Like, how do you think they feel? Like, you need to acknowledge this, and this needs to be a dialogue, and it's hard, but if you want to be like the modern company that you say you are, like, this is like real, like it's reality. Like, you can't hide behind business anymore. This isn't business. This is real life shit happening, real people with real feelings, and like it just made coming to work after that really hard. And then luckily I had an out, and I unapologetically just like left, and I was just like, this is not for me. Like, not values aligned, like your boss says, like it's just like not what I deserve. And I always thought a job I deserved was a job that paid me.
Mhm.
But it's beyond that. Like, a job you deserve is like a job that fulfills you and that supports you, like literally like you. Like, and I feel excited. So I feel like I'm just a little burnt, like honestly, and that's why
Mhm.
maybe I'm not being so excited at my new job. Like, it's fucking dope what I do, and like it's like, wow, my client is YouTube. Like, wow. Like
Like, so what
someday,
about
yeah, I'm gonna post to their story. Someday I'm gonna like tweet. Like, it's like crazy. And so I'm like, shouldn't I be happy? Like, shouldn't I like be stoked to be here? But it's just kind of like, and then the talk about my job before that, like just like the toxic whatever the fuck that was, like just like,
Mhm.
and then like the boss before that, like the catty, like the petty, like just abusive. I've been in abusive workplaces like my entire life, and so it's kind of like a breath of fresh air to not feel that right now, but it's also like I'm skeptical.
Sorry, I'm trying to like move my mic
No, you're good.
because I feel like yours looks cool and like mine does not. Whatever.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I feel like the important thing to note here is that you just have to let the hurt go, and that's what the Fab grad told me when I just came to her and I was just like, I don't even know if I want to do PR. Like, I had gone through experiences where I was like, am I in the right place? Like, did I get the right degree? Do I need to shift my career? Like, I truly was lost and I had no idea where to go. But surprisingly, the answers were within myself. But what she told me was that you have to let the hurt go. Like, you have to let it go. Like, it's like just because, like, let's say you have a bad breakup or you have a bad experience at a restaurant. Just because you have one bad experience doesn't mean that you're never gonna love again or you're never gonna go out to eat again. It just means that you'll take it with a grain of salt. But in order to have a good time and in order to like fully be present in the moment, you have to like let it go. But then also, like, taking a step back, you have to deal with it too, and you have to talk about it, and you have to like be okay with what happened and how you acted. And I think also what I learned from your experience was that we have to address the complicity in our own families.
mhm.
So when Janine called me, she was on speaker and she had me on speaker. And when she asked me what to do, I was just like, you already know how I feel about
You
them.
already know, young grasshopper.
Yeah, I was like, you already know what I'm going to say. I think you should leave because it's not values aligned. It's not what you want. And California is an at will state. And business is business and personal is personal. Like, they wouldn't bat an eye with laying you off
Nope,
without
and give
giving
you a
you
2 weeks
2 weeks
notice.
notice.
Mhm.
Like, you're not like, yes, a 2 weeks notice is the professional thing to do, but you have to remember that companies are out for their bottom line, and especially that company in particular. So I was just like, yo, leave. And then I'm not gonna spotlight anyone specifically. But we had a family member who basically, they said that we were overreacting, and specifically like me, that I was overreacting, and that it wasn't a big deal, and that what happened at the Capitol wasn't about race, and that Janine should stay. because they paid well, and that she should just stick it out because she should be lucky and grateful to have the salary that she had. And that just like wasn't, that didn't set well with me. One, because I'm like, that's my sister, like she deserves way better than that. Like
Yeah,
point blank,
that's a voice I
period.
trust that I listen to.
Yeah, like period. Like she deserves better. Like just like I don't even know what more to say than you deserve better. Like that, even that alone should have been enough. But the overarching context of our conversation and having a family member not think that what happened at the Capitol was an example of systemic racism in our society, like that was more telling to me. And I felt like I was just angry and I was really hurt and I was upset. And I felt like this was the opportunity that I needed to address my complicity, because I had been allowing people in my family to say what they
Me
wanted and
too.
needed to say, and just being like, you know what, I'm not going to feed into that energy. Like, I don't have time to argue with you. I don't have time to educate you. So you can just say that I'm not going to acknowledge it. But I feel like that type of reaction towards this type of experience is incorrect. And I literally was crying, and I called my mom and I called like my friends and I called my sister, and I was like, you know what? Like, I've always been the type of person that's like, I'm going to say what I need to say. Like, even if I just say it one time, like that's the last time you'll hear it from me, but at least you know that I told you what was up. And I felt like I didn't hold that same standard for my family. And I'm like, okay, you're a fucking fraud. Like, you're a phony. Like, how can you like wake up every day to fight for what is right when like the problem is like in the living room?
Yeah.
So I was just, for me, I had to have a courageous conversation, and I was scared because I didn't want to ruin the relationship that I had built with this person that was really important to me, and a person that I didn't have in my life for a period of time. And I just like I was scared, and I feel like I wasn't like 25-year-old Jer. I was like 12, or like I was like 14. And I think that was, sorry, I'm like getting emotional about it, but like
Don't be
that
sorry.
was like the biggest thing for me. Like I was like, I don't want I don't want to lose the person I love. But then
Yeah.
at the same time, like, this is what I believe in, and like this is something I feel so strongly about. And the way that I explained it was, I called them and I was like, "Hey, do you have time and space to have a candid and open conversation with me?" And then, just like as a preface, that person didn't understand what candid meant. So we ended up like arguing. And then at the end, they were like, "You should have just told me that you wanted to be frank." And I was just like, bro, that's what candid means. Like, what the hell? But yeah, it was a really difficult conversation. And I was like, first off, I love you. I see you. Like, I care about what you think and I value your opinion. But I need to get something off my chest that has been on my chest for a while. And it was a rough conversation to have, but like it needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I'm grateful for having that conversation. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it showed me that even if you're scared, like you just need like 30 seconds of courage to just be able to like dial the
There's
phone, or just like give yourself like that 30 seconds to be like, you know what, like I just need to get over this first 30 seconds. And we ended up having like a really great conversation, and we had a conversation about like other things too. And I feel like now they kind of like understand like where I stand. But within that conversation, like we touched on multiple things, but I told them that I'm going to show up for my loved ones in the capacity that I can show up for them. And they were like, "Oh, that means like you don't want to be the role that like you were assigned. Like you don't want to be like that person for them." And I was like, "I'm not anyone else's keeper but my own. Like I'm tired of taking care of other people and making sure people are cool and like being there and being strong. Like that's part of the reason why I went through what I went through in the fall and the winter, because I was giving to everyone else and my cup wasn't full. Like I was on empty, like I was on fumes, and I didn't like give myself like the space or the time or the grace to fill that up. I just kept going and going and going. So obviously, like my shit wasn't operating properly. And that was just the biggest thing for me, was that I need to show up in the capacity that I can, and it's okay. And it's okay to like speak your mind, and it's okay to have like courageous conversations, because that's the only way that things will change. And especially when it comes to intergenerational stuff, like you have to know and be confident. You're like, no, like the buck stops with me. Like my kids aren't going to get hit. I'm not going to yell at my kids. I'm not going to like degrade them. I'm not going to make them feel bad. Like, and that's just like an example. But even when it comes to societal things, you'd be like, no, like it stops with me. Like I'm not going to let them talk like that. Like it's not okay. And I think what every family needs to realize is that every life matters. Like every life is precious, not just those in your family. And you should care about what's going on in the world, because it could be anyone. And like it literally could be anyone. It can be your friend, it can be your neighbor, it can be your own loved one. Like it really could be you, purely based off of the color of your skin. So that's the reason why people should care. Like they should care because like these are human beings, and you have to look at color, and you have to address like your own role in what's happening. And if everyone were to just take a step back and like do that, I think we would be in a better place for sure.
Seriously. I'm proud of you for like speaking up and like having that courageous conversation. You know, I'm proud of the growth, and like you really do care about what you do, and like it shows in your soul, and like I don't know, I just wanted to acknowledge that like what you
Thanks,
do
Ellie.
and what you say matters, and like you are part of the change, and love you.
Love you too.
But just I don't even, I honestly, like a mic drop, like I don't even think anything else needs to be said. Like it really is what it is, and it's just like you have to care, you have to show up, you have to speak up, because if you don't, you're complicit, and it's just like if you don't, you're part of the problem. If you don't, you will
You're
be
a
called out.
bystander. And that's
Like,
that's the
yeah,
bystander
you
effect. Like I learned about that in college. Like the bystander effect is not doing anything to help because you think that it's not your job and that somebody else will come in and save the day and help. But if you just like think that every like sorry, my words are just like jumbled right now.
know,
But if you take a step back, like there are billions of people in the world. If everyone did that and waited for the next person to step up to the plate, nothing would happen. Everything would stay the same. So like you have to take it into your own hands and really be the change that you want to see. And I think as I'm getting older too, I'm realizing the importance of community and the importance of having strong, healthy, equitable communities where everyone is treated equally. And I remember I was talking to my mom about it. Like we're originally from Oxnard. I truly don't think I'm moving from San Diego. Like I feel like I'm just going to be here. And I'm making this San Diego community like my community. And my mom was like, why don't you want to come home and like come back to Oxnard and make that same change here? And honestly, I just never felt a connection with like Oxnard, because I mean, obviously I'm really proud of where I live and I'm really proud of where I come from. And like shout out to my mom for like pushing us to like succeed. But the fact of the matter was my mom wanted us to go to the best school in the district, and that happened to be in a white, wealthier neighborhood, which makes sense because the funding in the US is based on the income a community can generate. So, and my mom kind of like growing up low income and like literally growing up in the hood and just like having to overcome everything, like she wanted better for us. And in doing so, like we were stripped of having like a true connection to our neighborhood and our community, on top of all the other things that we were going through. Like we weren't allowed to be kids, like we weren't allowed to like explore our own space as young adults.
we just need to
So
shut up and sit down, like just like
yeah, it was like you need to be seen, not heard.
mhm.
And
You
like
need to be
you
perfect.
yeah, you need to be perfect, and like we're not accepting anything less. And that wasn't our parents who said that. It was like another family member. And that was difficult, like just dealing with all of that as a kid and like trying to figure out what that means, and then coming to school and like having another shoe drop because you have this time, and then COVID, and then you have like now it's just explicitly showing that everyone has the same hours in the day. Like, I mean, if I could go back, like I think that we would have a really great connection with Oxnard if we were given the chance.
Yeah.
But because I feel this sense of community in San Diego, like that's where I plan on like keeping my roots and like putting it down. And also talking about community, I am teaming up with a nonprofit called Fulfilling Destiny, as well as a nonprofit called the You and Us. And we will be hosting a food, clothing, and COVID-19 supply drive to gather items to help people experiencing homelessness in downtown San Diego. So it's going to be on Saturday, March 13th, and it's going to be at 10 a.m. We'll have all the details and we'll plug you guys. But I'm in charge of gathering non perishable food. So if you would like to donate, you can Venmo me and I'll give Janine that information so she can put it in the notes. Or if you would like to donate cans or granola bars or power bars, like literally anything that's non perishable, we're going to be creating little baggies and passing them out to folks. So if you're interested, feel free to let me know. I'm more than happy to drive and go get those materials, or you can Venmo me and help us to feed people who are just like struggling and having a really hard time right now.
Dude, you literally like what did I say? I don't know. I feel like that's really great and really what we need right now. And that makes like just seeing that like I don't know, drive inspiration like makes me want to like call Sienna right now because I know she
Yeah,
has an organization like just do the same thing but in the 805 and then form that community here. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
definitely. And I
But
think
that is one
honestly,
thing that is one thing I miss about San Diego like is that feeling. You're right, like that feeling of community like you said it like literally to a T. Um yeah, just you should care about where you are, the people, you know. You should just care about people. You should just be a good human.
yeah,
Like just like it's really not that hard. And I feel like if we all like changed and like became more of a collective as a whole like unit and like a collectivist society, like it's just like not hard to be considerate. Like it
yeah,
takes like zero more energy or zero less energy. You just do it.
yeah. It's just like treating people with like decency and like dignity and respect. And I think when it comes to homelessness and everything going on right now, it literally could be anyone. Like we are all one unfortunate event away from being on the streets. Like not everyone has a safety net. Not everyone has like a mom and dad to fall back on or like a family member to fall back on or even like another income. So like when I've been seeing people who are literally like standing on the corner and they're like, I got laid off. I'm looking for a job. I don't have enough money to pay my rent. I have kids.
I've seen that too.
And for me, it just literally breaks my heart because when we were going through everything that we were going through, the only reason why we were on the street was because like our loved ones opened their homes to us. And if they didn't do that, then we would be on the street or living in my mom's van. And even like after our parents had gotten divorced, we moved in with my uncle and it was my mom. My mom was sleeping on the floor. My mom and myself were sleeping on the floor, and then Janine and Jaden were on the bed because they're just like psychopaths when they sleep, and I just like cannot sleep with them. Like I love you guys, but Jaden moves a lot, and you just like move your little feet, which is fine. But like I cannot. Like I'll just like be up all night. So like kind of like living in high school and having everything be in four walls,
Yeah, like
like
four
having
people in one room.
four
Like
people in one room that's like not big, and just like going through the struggles of that, also going through um have feeling like our family was torn apart and not feeling safe and not feeling like we could be honest about what was happening and not feeling like we could be vulnerable either because we were told to like keep everything in the house, which I understand, like culturally it makes sense. I don't agree with it, but going through all of that just like makes me like feel for like my fellow man. And I also really do think that I'm an empath. I'm going to talk to my cousin Tiana about this because she's an empath. But I just like I really feel the vibes like with everyone, and I just like want everyone to have like an equal shot at a good life. And my boyfriend and I, we went to CVS the other day, and this was in San Diego like a couple weeks ago, where it was literally pouring rain. It was freezing. It had hailed once or twice. And when we were walking into CVS, like we passed this like man on the way in, and like he was like looking at me, and then I was just like, I don't have any cash. In my head, I was like, I don't have any cash right now. I'm just gonna go in and like get some cash and come out and give it to him. And then when I passed him, like he literally had wet himself. It was freezing outside, and people were just walking by him and like staring at him, like no one was trying to help. And like I looked at my boyfriend, I'm like, we have to help him, like it's so cold. And like the entire walk home, I was just like so concerned, and I like wanted to cry because I was like, that's one, it's embarrassing, and two, it just like pissed me off that like CVS didn't let him use the bathroom. Like people need a place to use the restroom. Like just because you don't have a home doesn't mean that you're going to steal something. Like I understand like the stereotype, but again, like we have to treat people with dignity and respect and give people the benefit of the doubt. Like he wasn't able to use the bathroom, so he wet himself, and we ran like back to the house. Like we grabbed a whole bunch of stuff. Like Chris ended up giving him like his last clean pair of underwear, which I was like big LOL. But like we ran back, and the thing that sucked so bad was like in the hustle and bustle of everything, I didn't even think to tell him to like wait here or like we'll be back. And when we got back, like we had like a reusable bag that like zipped, because I was like, oh, like he's gonna need something to carry all of these clothes in. And I put like wipes and a bunch of stuff just to like help him like clean up. And he wasn't there. And that I was just like, I was ready to like drive around and find him. And but then I was just like, you know what, there's someone else that is in need and that can use this. And just because it's not him doesn't mean that like we can't help someone. And I feel like I still think about that, and I still like hope he's doing well. And I'm not telling this story to like get kudos or to like have you guys like validate me. I'm just like sharing because I think if we all just like take a second and like look at people and like really see them, like don't avert your eyes, like even if you don't have cash, like still look at them, like acknowledge them as human beings.
Yeah,
Like that
smile,
could be your
wave.
uncle, like your mom, like your sister, your friend. It could be you. You just happen to have a luckier hand. And I feel like it's just I just like it just really breaks my heart, and I just hope that all of the families and people who are struggling right now because of COVID and like unemployment and everything that's going on, I like my heart goes out, and I just really hope that everyone is like safe and happy. And I hope that like we can all just like lend someone else a helping hand. And at the very minimum, like if you go to a grocery store or if you go to a restaurant, like I'm not telling you to tip. I'm just telling you to like talk to people and like be nice, because the people who are working in grocery stores and working at the fast food places and working at the restaurants, like those are the people who are literally putting their lives on the line to like keep our society and our economies going, while we have the privilege to work from home. And I'm talking about
Mhm.
myself. Like I have the
Me too.
privilege to work from home, but I also know what it feels like to work during COVID. Like I was laid off, and I have been
Me
on
too.
unemployment like twice in my life, and I'm not it was something that I was ashamed of, and now I'm proud of it, because you just have you like sometimes like things happen, and I'm really grateful that that happened to me early on in my career. So I have an idea of like what to expect and like what to do.
It's like
And
real world shit.
yeah, and like thank God I had like Smart and Final to fall back on and Smart and Final to go to, and I think that's why I have such a hard time letting it go now. But like I can tell you right now, like it's not fun being a cashier during COVID. Like people come in and they're rude, and people come in and they're mean, and they like want to take out their bad day on you. And I'm just like, have a blessed day. Like couldn't be me. Like you're not gonna like ruin my
Miss
day, but
you,
like I
yeah.
really hope your day gets better, and please wear a mask next time.
Period. No, I love it. I love you so much. Like,
I
wow.
love you too.
Like you just, I mean, I know we're not in a relationship, but you know how like people always say like, oh, like they make me want to be a better person. Like I feel like you make me want to be a better person, and like I already am there with you in spirit, but it's just kind of like wow, like there are ways I can be better. Like I can be real with myself and be like I can be a better person. Like I feel like that's like literally what I'm dealing like what I need to deal with too is just like being afraid of being bad and like being wrong and not wrong like just being bad Like that's
Yeah.
just like not what I want to be. Like I just like I feel the same way. Like I know Tiana was saying that beyond empath, I think it's like you're spiritual. Like we are indigenous, like we are a spiritual people. Like so it's like I don't know. I just wanted to validate you on that, like just in case like you were like, oh, like maybe I'm tripping. Like you're not.
Yeah.
It's a
No,
real thing. And, like I've experienced it too. Like one time when like I don't know. Oops, I touched my mic. I don't know. I've felt it too, but yeah, that just makes me want to like I don't know. Like I want to cry too. Like it's just like
yeah.
sad.
It's just
Or
like you have to do what you can. And I was
yeah,
talking to my boyfriend about it, and then my boyfriend was like, "You can't save everyone." And then I like kind of went off on him, but like he wasn't like attacking me. I just felt like so strongly about it. And then he was
yeah,
like, "I'm not telling you that like I'm not." He's like, "I'm not saying anything to like try to upset you, and I agree with you. Like I'm going to the house to like give him clothes." But like you can't save everyone, like you can't put that burden on you. And I was like, oh, I understand. Like you can't put the burden of whole communities on yourself, because then like you'll topple over, which is also why it's important to maintain like a really like strong mentality, and to also like feed yourself spiritually. I personally am a reformed Catholic, like shout out. I just like don't really believe in the viewpoints that the Catholic Church has, and I also just think that like their whole mentality is like kind of back assward in terms of not wanting to get black and not wanting to give black indigenous people of color a safe space within the church, when it's like you guys literally went on a rampage and were like everyone needs to believe in God, but then you get upset when people in that community like ask to be recognized. And I think the thing that stood out to the most to me in terms of the Catholic Church was everything that went on. I can't recall the name of the proposition, but it was the prop for gay marriage, and like the Catholic Church was against it, and I was like, why? Like I
what
couldn't
was the
wrap my head
reason?
around it. And then also like being in high school and taking AP European history, that would just like open my eyes, and I'm like, this is not a vibe. Like I don't understand how you could like kill people in the
Nope.
name of God, or tell people that like who are you to like sit there and be pass judgment on people when like you're literally telling people that they need to not pass judgment, because the only person
You need
that
to love all.
can judge is God, because he's like an all-knowing God and all-loving God, and he'll forgive you like for your sins. So it's just like if you can believe in the tale that Jesus died for your sins and like you're saved, like why can't you believe that Jesus, lol, that Jesus died for someone else's sins and that they're saved and they're beautifully and perfectly made? Like that was just like a huge thing for me. And I feel like now that I'm getting older, obviously like I believe in God. I believe in like a entity that's like watching over us. I just feel like I need to figure out what that path looks like. And I'm definitely going to hit up my cousin about this spirituality stuff, because I feel like it's just like an untapped thing. And I felt the vibes like my entire life when it comes to that stuff. And I feel like that'll be like a journey that will not only teach me more about myself, but like teach me more about our culture too.
I know. I just want to be there just so I can learn too. Just be like, okay, I'm just gonna take notes,
Yeah.
listen.
Because our
I guess
cousin, our cousin Tiana,
I
I
feel like
love her so
Leah
much.
too. Like we
Really,
all. Well, I feel like well
the
maybe not
women.
on like Tiana's level, but just like we're all like very like intuition reliant or not reliant, but we we listen to it.
Intuitive.
Yeah, intuitive. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, feel free to bring anything up that else is in your head. I personally can't think of anything right now, and I do have some announcements that I wanted to share. But
Yeah.
is there anything else you wanted to? Because I'm not going to forget about the announcements. Is there anything else that you wanted to just like? Because honestly, Queen, like this is like a long episode for a reason. Like first of all, you haven't had um weekly content from us in like months, so there's like minutes for you to catch up on. So feel free to
Definitely.
pause us at any time, rewind 10 seconds. Like we'll be there. Like you want to listen to this episode, so it's just been a lot. This makes me miss you. Well, I know I'm not even looking at you, but it's like the other day I was like texting you guys and I was just like it kind of hit me. I was like, wow, like I'm officially like not with my sisters. And I thought that it would be hard for like no like no, I don't want to say no offense, but like just to be real, like I thought it was be harder for you guys to not have
Mhm.
me, and not in like any type of snooty way, but just because like I'm the big sister, like obviously like I have a special relationship with both of you guys and you guys individually,
Yeah, and
and
you've
I've
been like a
always been there.
constant in
Like
our life.
I don't want to say I paved the way, but like I was here
You
first and like I
did.
led you, like,
Let's give credit where it's due. You did pave the
but
way
it's
for
but
us.
it's not in like a leader. I don't know. I don't want to like toot my own horn too like
No,
in
I
that
feel
way.
like
That's
toot
what I'm
toot
trying to say.
away. I feel like you did pave the way for us and you were leading us because you were the first one to go to college and you had to deal with that all on your own. And I don't want to say the
Well,
mistakes
I'm
that
a
were
Gemini.
I'm dead.
Oh, you
The,
can't see it.
I don't want to say that the mistakes that you made taught me, the experiences that you had taught me because you didn't even know that there
There's
were
some good
mistakes when they were
things.
happening.
Just kidding.
And I think it's just part of like being a sibling. Like there's someone that goes first, and I've never been the one that's like, oh, me go first. Like that's not me. Like second born, I'll go second. I'd really rather go second. But like to have you like pave the way and like be strong and like be empowered and literally like get shit done in the face of adversity and like to overcome everyone telling you no and that you weren't good enough and that you would never make it, like for you to like be here and for you to specifically have like a high paying job to where like you literally, I feel like you literally at your age you've made like the most money that anyone has in our family. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but like it feels true to me, like in the sense of like immediate family. Like
Mhm.
at 26, like no one was making the money that you're making now. And it's going to change not only like our generation, but it'll change your next generation. And like it's literally going to change the trajectory of our family because like all of the work that you did.
It's crazy, like the big picture.
Yeah.
Like even thinking about grandpa and like Poppy and like my grandpa went to a high school that was like literally like remember Jared at the Ventura County Fair? Mom would always make us go to the barn and like
Yeah.
go
That
to the
red barn where they talked about
yeah
Jesus.
yeah literally like that was my grandpa's school. Like it was like 12 people. Like starting from an old. It's kind of funny like starting from
A
like a
hick
small
town in
town
Texas.
and now we're here. Like it's just crazy. It's crazy, and you're right because I like the reason why I want to go to grad school is not, and I've identified this myself, is because not because I need it to advance, not because I want more money. It's because like I want to be the leader and set that standard for excellence and like just set the standard for education and the importance of it in my family so that they can look up to someone and be like, oh, look, my mom has a bachelor's, she has a master's,
My aunties
like
have degrees.
yeah,
Like,
my aunt's a doctor because Jaden's gonna be a doctor one day. She's gonna have to get her PhD. Like they're gonna have like that ambition to look up to, and it's gonna like hopefully make my children's lives easier. Because like it's like with mom, like I feel like every parent, like whether you adopt or whether you have a child like from your vessel, like you just want your child to have a better life than you did, and
yeah.
it's just kind of on a just like I don't know, like literally on like a cellular level, like on all areas but physical. I don't know. No, but it's for real. Like it's just like that is changing.
I think it's also worth mentioning that the color of wealth in America is white. And the
Mhm.
reason why I'm saying this is because I had the pleasure of working on a messaging document for a client at work. And um, it just kind of like cemented everything that I didn't know. I didn't know I knew, if that makes sense. So basically, wealth is health. The amount of wealth that you have, the amount of wealth that your family has, will lead to better health outcomes. And in terms of better health outcomes, that means that um, diabetes won't, like, you probably won't have like any type of chronic illnesses like diabetes, like hypertension,
High blood pressure.
high blood pressure. I can't think of all the other chronic illnesses. Um, but you'll have access to a primary care doctor, like you'll have access to a health center, you'll have like the means to be able to afford the medication and not just go to the doctor. And I think that's important too. Like by you going to school and increasing your income, it's not only good for you, but it's good for like the literal like betterment of your family because now after this, we have a foundation and there's a possibility to build that intergenerational wealth. And again, like Missing in Brooks County, like highly recommend you guys watch it.
Is it on Netflix?
No, it's a documentary. I'll send you something.
I'll watch it.
But and I'll share the link with
Yeah, I'll put it in the
the
notes.
Qwndom. I'll like send you guys like the link
Put it
to
in the
the
Facebook
film.
group too.
Yeah, I'll send it to the link to the film. So, or the film's page, so you can just like learn more about it. But in Missing in Brooks County, there was a woman, and I didn't even know this, but like on the East Coast, you can just get evicted for no reason. Like they don't have to have like a legitimate reason. Your landlord can just like be like, no, like you have to move out. And she was basically saying that as a Black woman living in America, she doesn't have her own space. Like they don't have connection to land. Like nothing is yours. And she didn't realize that that connection and that stability and that security comes from owning your own land. If you own your own land, you can create your own food. You can create a life for your family that is secure. You can have a home that no one can take away from you. And I had never wanted to be a homeowner because I don't know, I just never thought that it would just be something that I would want to do. I was like, oh, like what if I want to like move somewhere else? But now that I'm thinking about it, like I would love to be able to afford a home that I can
Yeah,
pass on.
you can.
Because yeah, because I think we all know and understand that you can't take your material things with you, but you can pass them down. And like now that's one of my goals. Like I have like so many things and ideas for like how I want to like change not only my life but to just like make a stronger impact and like really make a difference. And part of that is like owning property and owning, if I don't own my own home, then like I would like to own like my own business, or I would like to own like my own like business space.
Yeah.
And just like yes, and like just like create like a safe space for people to create and for people to feel supported and for people to feel like they have someone as a mentor. And I feel like mentorship is important to me too. And it's just crazy because like some girl messaged me on LinkedIn and she was like, hey, I want to work in the field that you're in, like can I connect with you? And shout out to my FMT Carlene, like she is interning at
Oh, I
Canali
was like,
Communications. She's working in biotech PR and like she's literally doing so well. And I feel like my relationship with her, I literally met her at a party, like a going away party for a former friend, and and well, actually, she didn't do anything to me, but it's just like actions speak louder than words. So if I haven't talked to you in, I would say the past 6 months to a year, like we're not friends, and it's not even on some like dead on sight shit. It's on some like you don't know me. I'm not the same person that I was, and clearly, the reason. Well, I have like my own suspicions, but I truly believe like that people and friends that I thought I was gonna have for a really long time in my life, they were just like sheep and listened to someone that served as a lion, and they just like draft me, which is cool. It was a blessing in disguise. And like now I really do care about the people that are bringing into my life. And like I was talking to my boyfriend about that the other day. Like we were planning something and he was like, oh, you should invite your friends. And I'm like, bro, I literally like I only fuck with like 5 people. Like my squad used to be so big,
for
but
real.
yeah, I was just, and I feel like when I talk to my boyfriend, I feel like he's my best friend. So I'm always like, bro, dude, like I love him, but that's a different topic. But I'm always like, bro, like I don't know her, like they're not my friends. And I was literally like going down the people. I was like, yeah, I don't fuck with her anymore. I don't fuck with her anymore. I haven't talked to her in like over a year. And it's not necessarily that I'm wishing anyone bad. I just like, you guys can eat, not at my table. Like we're only vibing with positivity and like supporting and empowering people here. But
Yeah.
all that to say, it's just like your environment around you is like so important. And like while like that was the biggest heartbreak I've ever gone through in my life, like losing all my friends and like feeling like I could do nothing about it because no one cared or like took the time to like sit down with me and hear my side of the story. And
Yeah, like blacklisted. Like,
yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm fucking dope. Like, if you guys don't want to hang out with me, like, it's your fucking loss, dude.
yes, ma'am.
Like, I am loyal. Like, I know what kind of friend I am. I know what I bring to the table, and it's not no plastic cutlery. Like, I'm bringing the real deal, and I'm here for like the long term. Like, I'm a durable friend. Like, you may not talk to me every single day, but trust and believe if you start a side venture or you start a side hustle or a business or you write a book, like, I'm gonna be the first person to retweet it. I'm going to be the first person to share it. I'm going to support you in the capacity that I can, and I will offer you help along the way. Like, that's just the type of friend I am. Like, I'm ride or die. And I don't know. It's been like a lot.
Their loss.
Yeah. It's not even that. It's just like, one, I know that I'll never get a friend like that again. Like, you'll never get a friend. You'll never get the same friend back twice. So I'll never get those friends back, but I like wish them well. And like if our paths cross again, like I'll be cool, but it's not something that I'm going to go out of my way on.
Like, and I said what I said.
Yeah, and I said what I said, and I did what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I keep looking at my hair because it's like not like time is not registering to me. It's February,
Time
and
is it?
well, it's February 9th. And I
7:40.
remember my friend Joanna, she had a birthday in January. And Joanna, if you're listening, I love you so much. I didn't forget your birthday. It just like didn't register to me that it was January. Like I knew when your birthday was. And I felt so bad because I literally was talking to her all day. And I didn't text her happy birthday until like 9 p.m. But I had been
Well,
talking
I
to
think
her all day.
I texted my friend happy belated, and I feel like their birthday was like last week, but I texted them happy belated in like December, I think. So I'm like, whoops. But I mean, the intention was there. I got confused because I thought I saw something that said happy birthday. So
Yeah. Shout out to
I tried.
Instagram.
Yeah. Well, because I low key used to get my birthdays from Facebook, but I like avoid Facebook at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to have the Facebook group, maybe you can have a
I like don't
pick
really
in it.
like Facebook.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Facebook page will be there. It's on the back burner, people. And
Maybe we
like,
should do Patreon.
okay, we're like fuck the Facebook.
I just like
I'm kind of down. I'm kind of down because that's what I was considering doing, Jer.
yeah.
Like this company reached out to me about a platform that is kind of like Patreon, except you can like have your own like portal and like have video storage, which is expensive. And I didn't do it because Eric said that I don't need it. I can just do it, put it on YouTube and like do Patreon and stuff. But I'm like,
Yeah. I'm
But I have
excited
a
because I
ring
feel
light.
like
I have a ring light. I have a camera. You
I
know,
mean,
I
not that
definitely
I'm
want to
not
step up content this year.
sorry, I'm really bad at like talking when you're talking.
No, you're
Go ahead.
good. What did you say? No, okay.
Um, no, I feel like I'm excited to like do Patreon, like not because I'm not myself here, but I feel like if we get a Patreon, I'm like I'm really gonna be like myself because it's like a safe space that like not everyone can see, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm tired of like. I'm tired of like. I used to think that I didn't care what people think, and I do to an extent. I don't want people to think that I'm a bad person. Like I said, like so I feel like I've always been so afraid of that, and I would act differently so people didn't perceive me as a way I didn't want to be perceived. But it's like, who cares? Like whether they think about me as a bad person or as like when I was told recently that a whole group of people didn't like me because they thought I was stuck up, and I'm like,
Ew.
um, I told you already.
Oh.
Yeah, but like it's like why bring these people around me then? Like that's like pretty fake, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, whatever. But it just that was striking in and of itself. And I'm anyway, my point is I'm tired of like trying to be a PG version of myself. Like I'm a complex, multifaceted human, you know, and I want to like that's why I feel like I've just been trying to live life a little bit more colorfully and like I don't know
Because we have
and
to
with
live our
yeah
adjusted life now.
yeah. So I've had we've been in quarantine for a year. We know what it's like. Are we gonna continue the same thing this year, or is something gonna change? Like I don't know about you, but I don't want to be where I was in March
I'm
last
not gonna
year.
lie, a bitch gained like 20 pounds. And I remember I was at the doctor's office and then I was like about to step on the scale and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna say like I'm gonna be like
Like
225 because
yes,
like there's no way I'm
yeah.
225 right now. And then she was like 230 and I was like and it's not that I'm ashamed of weighing so much. I'm not like actually I almost like quoted R. Kelly and then I was just like, Jerralyn. Sorry. It's just like that song was like I just like grew up with it and I'm like unbreaking that. So like fuck R. Kelly. But nonetheless, I totally forgot what I was saying. I'm an airhead.
Um, you were talking about R. Kelly. I kind of blocked out after that. I was like, I was laughing, so I
No, I
forgot.
got so distracted by that, and I was just like, how can you be so like read the room?
Mhm.
Oh, that's what it was. Like weight and the number on the scale like doesn't mean anything. Like the number doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything.
I'm working on
Weight
that
is
too.
just a number. And but I was also thinking, I was like, you know what? Like I'm getting to the point in my life where I'm 25 and everyone's like, oh my God, like in the next like couple years, you're gonna look at a cookie and gain like 15 pounds. And I was just like, I don't want that problem in terms of like, I don't want the health problems. Like,
Yeah, just better lifestyle.
yeah, like I don't want to have like, actually, I'm not gonna talk about
It's
what I don't want. Like,
it's
I want,
familial.
yeah, and like it's like there's a lot of like family stuff that we have going on that is preventative. So like I want to live a healthy and happy lifestyle. Like I want to feel comfortable in front of the camera at any angle. I want to
Me too.
be able to wear the clothes that I want to wear and in the sizes that I need to wear them at and not feel ashamed
Guilty.
or
Yeah.
guilty of ordering a 2X. And that was literally like and it worked out in my favor because Fashion Nova updated their discount and was instead of 40%, it was 50% off. But I was looking for a dress for Valentine's Day. And I took my measurements and then I looked down and then I was just like, fuck, I'm a 2X now. And it was just like, God damn it. Like, I never thought that I would be at that point. And I feel like it was a realization with myself to be like, yo, like, if you're thinking this about yourself, like, why would anyone else like treat you with love and respect? And I
Hmm.
was like, cool. And I was like, all right. And I've been coming to terms with it and like working through it on my own, but I'm trying to like accept my body as it is now because like if I like hate my body, which I don't, but if I feel like shit and like I feel not 100% and I don't feel comfortable and I don't feel good, then like I'm only going to attract that and like attract more weight, attract all the things that I don't want. So I just kind of like have made 2021 the year where I'm going to invest in myself. So like I want to invest in self-care and like mental health and I want to invest in things that make me happy. And it's like a journey and like I'm not going to lie, like I love
It's
ice
exciting.
cream and I love like the snackies, like I'm with the vibes, like I'm always down to go get food. But at the same time, like I want to set myself up for success
Hmm.
and hopefully kind of like not turn back the clock, but make sure that I don't have to like pick and prick and poke myself and like take pills every day
Yeah,
when I get
be on a
older.
ventilator.
Yeah, like,
That's my
and I think,
biggest fear because I have asthma.
yeah, and I think that was what my friend Joel was telling me too. And that kind of like the whole premise for this podcast episode was um, based off of a conversation that I had with him like last week. And we were talking about COVID and like the reality that we're probably not going to be back to normal until like 2022, 2023, because like people there's like not like a fundamental universal like law that people are forced to follow. It's just like as Americans everyone's so fucking selfish that like that's what one of the reasons why we're at where we're at right now. Like my friend lives in Singapore and they've been open, like she's big chillin', like she got,
Australia, my friend in Australia,
yeah,
Canada.
yeah, so it's just like the reality is our community is not a community of one. So even if one person is wearing their mask and following the protocols, there's someone that's not. And we're not going to be able to beat this until a vaccine rolls out, which I really don't know how I feel about that anyway. But
Hmm.
like if we make ourselves healthier, like that's one of the ways that like we can beat the virus. If we're healthy, we don't have these underlying health conditions, then when we do get sick, we won't, a young
Die.
person like myself will not only not die, but will save the bed for someone who needs it.
Hmm. Yeah. One thing I wanted to say was that I saw this on Instagram, and because I kind of like have been going through that journey as well, and like I'm supposed to be going to Hawaii in the summer, so I'm like, oh, I feel pressure to like not look the way I do, but it's like I
Mhm.
don't have a problem with the way I look, like so it's like I don't want to like pressure myself and like I don't know. It's just like I don't need to be like that to myself, you know.
Yeah.
But this girl on Instagram, I can't remember her Instagram right now, but she said something about like how she's gained weight in quarantine, but she didn't say that. She was like, "Oh, like I came to terms with celebrating my new shape because," and she had like a boudoir photo shoot.
Hmm.
She was just like, "Oh, like I want to celebrate my new body. Like it's just like a new
Yeah,
shape."
like a bitch is soft. Like I'm so soft. Like my skin is soft and like I don't want to say
I know. Eric
squishy,
says I have
but
soft
like if you like pull up, like I'm definitely like the cuddle
skin.
vibes. Like it'll be a good
Oh,
time.
I thought you were saying like a fight.
Oh no, because I went like this. No,
Yeah.
not like I mean, I feel like I'm pretty sturdy as an individual too. Like I can move shit, like heavy stuff. Like people like
I like to
I
pop and lock and jam.
yeah, like I feel like I'm a pretty like sturdy, like down home bitch. Like I can carry the heavy shit. Like I don't need you to fix the toilet. Like I can do that. I can move the bed.
Girl,
So I'm
I'm a
grateful for
real
that.
ass, rich ass bitch from the South.
I really do take a lot of pride in just like being able to fix things.
No, yeah, you can make something out of nothing. And that's like I was telling I don't know if I was telling like Eric or if I was telling someone else, but I was like, me and my sister, Jared, can like make something out of nothing, so like we wouldn't be able to survive. There not everybody is like that. And
Yeah.
like it takes like I don't know, we've been through some shit. Like
Yeah.
and it's time 2021 is the year we're going to like really process that and like acknowledge and really accept ourselves and not invalidate ourselves and just like being just want to be like a better person not because of you want to be perfect but
Yeah.
because you just want to make the world a better place and you can do that just by being yourself.
And I feel like another
So
thing that has been
I'm
like
so hungry.
just kind of like you're hungry.
Yeah, I just got my tummy got rumbly.
Yeah, I took out chicken, so I have to like cook that. I have like a really bad habit of taking meat out, and then I'm like, I don't want to cook that, and then it like goes bad.
I
I'm
had
like,
made tuna and he's like, Janine, and I was like, did you just make tuna and call me? Like literally not what I wanted. I'm just kidding. Sometimes a tuna sandwich really hits.
yeah, a tuna sandwich is a vibe. Sandwiches
A
have been
tuna melt, a
hitting.
tuna melt.
I've been like doing like turkey sandwiches with like alfalfa sprouts and like veggies and like mustard, and that's been a vibe. But
Nice. Those are nutritious.
back to what I was saying, the to come full circle, my boss like there's a situation and like I called and asked her for like advice and then she was like, you don't need me here, like you guys, you know what to do, like you're the expert, like you didn't do anything wrong. And I feel like as someone who's one of their love languages words of affirmation, I feel like I've noticed that like I need that validation, that like, oh, am I doing this right? Like it's hard to break out of the ABCD grade system when you're coming out of like more than 2 decades of like being conditioned for that. So the
Yeah,
adjustment to the real
my
world, yeah, like the adjustment to the real world, I'm like, not only being a woman in a predominantly white male space, but just being young in my career and like I don't feel 25, like I don't, it's like not registering, I don't feel that old, but I still feel like there's so much for me to learn. And I've always been the type of person to like ask and be like, oh, is this correct, like am I doing this correct, and like asking people for counsel. And now that I'm realizing, especially like this week, that like I know what to do. Like I was put here for a reason, I was hired for a reason, like I need to trust myself and trust my abilities. And I thought I was someone that was very self-empowered, and now I'm realizing that's something that I need to work on. Like i
like
need
doing
to
everything.
I need to like put on my little hat and be like, okay, I'm the wizard of,
This is my hat.
yeah, this is my hat, period. Like I am like, what's the female form of wizard?
Which I don't know.
And that's another thing too, like why do like
Like why do we have to
males
be
get
witty?
like, yeah, I'm like, why did like, it's disgusting, like with like wizard, it just like rolls off the tongue and you just like have respect for that
And then I'm
person.
like a
But like
witch.
witch, it's just like, first of all, it sounds like bitch, and like
Mhm.
it's just like an aggressive like term.
Ugly, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up right now.
Female
Female.
version, female version of lizard. I was like, why does my tongue look black?
But I guess, but then I don't want to like discredit like anyone who's like into brujeria or like identifies as a witch. Like no shade.
No,
I was just like looking at it because
I was just thinking about like what a witch is in a movie, like an old hag.
yeah,
Like, it's like, why do we have to be like, why can't we
Oh,
stand tall?
yeah,
Have
and like
power?
like men are called sorcerers, but we're called witches, or like they're
Yeah.
called magicians, but we're called witches,
Period.
and that's that.
Well, before we close out, Geraldine, feel free to interject if anything comes to mind. But I just wanted to launch. Wait, I hear an echo, but anyway, I'm gonna ignore that. Anyway, we are now on YouTube, so now we will try to be more active with video this year, and I didn't really talk to Geraldine about this, so it's kind of just happening right now.
I feel like it's gonna be interesting to do it virtually.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but like, let's do it. It's like, I remember Geraldine, I've always say we should always have our own show, and it's like this is kind of
Yeah,
like it kind of is, except we're not like Abby and Alana yet. Maybe in the
yeah.
future we'll do skits, but for right now, it's just like a video component. So now you guys can see what it's like, how I talk to my sister, and like how we keep our relationship alive and well during COVID. You know, and wow, I just realized that.
What?
Anyways, that like I'm talking to you through a computer now instead of like
I feel like it's an episode of Black Mirror.
no, yeah, like instead of like walking across the room or like I don't know. Anyways, we also are going to be putting our podcast on SoundCloud, and we just want to reach a new group of not a new group of people. We just want to reach more people, and I'm just testing it. So
Yeah, and
we'll
be
see
like
what happens from
intentional.
there. Yeah, like I'm looking to reach more people because I feel like it's like a privilege to have Spotify. So SoundCloud is an option that everyone can have access to.
I never thought of that. Like SoundCloud, I mean not SoundCloud. Um,
Like
Spotify
Apple.
isn't like equitable.
No, neither is Apple Music. Neither is Tidal. So it's just like we're like alienating a whole group of people. And so I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, might as well. Let's literally click up a button. Um, and adding, for example, I might cut this out of the footage. I don't know if it's like weird to say, but I'm gonna put captions on the video so that it's accessible for people to read, or if like they want to watch it
Yeah.
at work. So I just have all I don't know, I just want to do it because I'm like I said, like I don't want a repeat of last year. So I want to
Mhm.
like put my best foot forward and set myself up for success and just like do it like wholeheartedly.
Loves it.
But it shouldn't be too much work because we're just gonna be on Zoom.
Yeah, and I feel like just kind of like putting love into the 5 to 9 because we already put a
Yeah,
lot into the 9 to 5.
I
That is the
do,
biggest mug
and
I've ever seen in my life.
I just I don't know why I just like wanted like a lot of water. Oh, it's so heavy on my little arm. Well, not my little arm, but like my little
Tattoo.
injured. No, like it just like hurts my arm from my when I
Ugh,
fell.
can we talk about mask me? It's not a vibe.
I've been
You
okay,
just can't
but
really. I don't like right
actually
here.
I
Like
got it right. It's one right here, so some around here.
it's gross. But Kiara is gonna be an esthetician. Shout out to the homegirl.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to when I'm in the area. Um, I'm gonna get. I don't know. I might get. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
I
I
already told
bought
her. Like I was like, you're my
esthetician
esthetician for
for life.
life.
I saw that. I want her to have her own studio already. Let's
Me
manifest it.
too. I'm excited. I would love that for her.
That'd be cool. I sometimes do you ever just like want to like work with your not like work with your friends, but like just like have a collective space where you guys can all like just grind and like do what you like are
Yeah.
passionate about. That's what I want to cultivate too
Hmm.
in my I don't know. This game talking just like I guess like processing this and like talking it feels good to be back.
Yeah,
I feel like
it
I
does feel good to be back, and I
yeah,
feel
it
like
feels good to be back.
it feels different this time, and I feel
Yeah,
like
like
we're
it's
gonna be like
authentic.
more authentic, and like I really like the option of a longer episode
Mhm.
because then we can just like literally like
Ramble because
break
that's
down,
what's so
not even
special about our
ramble.
conversations, Jer.
Yeah,
Well, I don't mean ramble in the negative sense. I just mean like just like talk, like how Dad said that we always were talking to each other even
yeah.
before we could like form words. We would just be like blah, blah, blah," like or like chorus. What did she say? Baba do, Baba do, something like that. It means like lava monster, Baba monster, something like that. Anyway, yeah. Well, I love you. I miss
I love you
you.
too. I miss you too.
Um, Probably doesn't even want to end the podcast, so we can just keep talking. But
I know I have to pee really badly.
I'm hungry and my room is a mess because I cleaned my car after like a month. I'm like, fuck. and laundry.
Definitely.
And but I also want to relax. Like I kind of just want to like go downstairs. I don't know if I'll have tuna, but
I'm a big
maybe
chill,
like
honestly. I'm gonna
chill.
watch
I'm gonna
Britney.
drink my CBD drink. You know what? I'm gonna drink my little sweet reason. By the way, I have if you would like to try sweet reason, I have a 10% off code if you use code Janine at checkout at Sweet Reason.
Oh, I didn't
That's
know
a
it was a
the
CBD
camera drink
company.
Sweet Reason. CBD drink, sparkling drink.
I'm about it. I'm down.
Okay. Well, my code is Janine, and you can also use it on the merch. And they have a cute sweatshirt that says like "Cultivate Calm" or something. Something about being calm. It's
Mhm.
cute. Um, I'll talk to you later.
Okay. I love you.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye.